Jeffrey Dahmer soaked in blood. The Unabomber blowing up. Waco, Texas, and Heaven's Gates. Aliens modified, meant for apes. JFK shot in the head by the CIA. Bigfoot and the Mothman. Son of Sam talking to dogs again. Witches, ghosts, and goblins. Mysterious noise and hauntings. Dark arts in the skull and bones. Most celebrities are probably cloned. So if you're feeling all alone, crack a beer and get stoned. I welcome you to the podcast Strange Brew. We're here to entertain you. We're here to entertain you.
It's about to get strange.
Lives are at stake and millions of people are killed. Countries are destroyed, ruined forever. Endless sums of money are spilled into God knows where, faster or as fast as the blood gets spilled on the ground, and you'll never get either back. Those people are dead forever. All of their potential, everything they ever could have done, everything we all could have done together, gone forever, wiped out, destroyed. All the money that we use to make sure that happened, we can't even give them, they can't even give them any kind of memorial. We can't even build them anything worthy of a legacy remembering, because we're broke, because we sent all that money away to anything we could have done with it in the future. Anything we could have used it for to really help people, we can't, because it went out the window to an endless death machine that only exists to consume more souls so it can enrich its owners. You would hope, you would pray for the love of God, that one obvious constant, everybody knows it in the world, it's true. It's true. Stand up and point at it and say what it is. For God's sakes! You want to be the leader, you want to run the whole show, and you can't even admit, hey, has anyone noticed the giant monster in the room?
Poor boys fight wars for rich men. What will you die for? Reload the rifle ammunition. Albert Pike wrote up a 3 World War prediction. Brave men unknowingly fought and died for communism. Blame it on the hate, then kill the goyim and play the victim. Convinced to destroy each other in the name of patriotism. Then crying, stand over their graves as their children. That man's a soldier, enslaved to the business of killing. Millions of lives stolen for Bolshevism. Hide the gold in Switzerland. Use propaganda to mind control the citizens. War is not the answer. Kill for profit like you're sick with cancer. Godless monsters with the sickle and hammer. Talk shit while you're waving your ridiculous banner. You aren't saving a soul. The cost of human lives in war has taken its toll. It's a form of population control to kill off all the strong men and rob a nation of its gold, while world leaders talk with Satan on his throne and bomb civilization until we're back in the age of stone. Israel infiltrate the states and own all your politicians and control the way you vote. If you think you have a choice, you fucking don't. History is an agreed upon fable. So read books that contradict your beliefs if you're able to open your mind to the lies you were fed. Violent by design, society is led by tyrants in disguise in suit and ties who rule through lies. Look in their eyes, they're dead, no soul to be seen. They use the media to mold what you believe. Hold your feet to the fire and make you pay for the cold that's beneath. The greed of an empire that's never known defeat, funding both sides of the conflict. No amount of lives is worth this nonsense. War is good for business. Invest your son. You should pray for forgiveness for all the death you've brought. Peace will never come when it's offered at the end of a gun.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another special episode, another strange episode, you could say, of Strange Brew Podcast. I am Tomcat, aka Tom Thompson, the Reptilian. And who am I joined by? A familiar voice.
What's up, everybody? It's Derek Rants. I didn't know we were going with shades. Fucking, I gotta throw mine on that.
I was like, I have so many. Laugh at these ones, and we did Jeffrey Dahmer, like a 4-hour deep dive, and I dressed up like him. So that's
nice.
Glasses. So ridiculous. So I was like, oh, you know what? We're just gonna fuck around, man. So I was like dressed up like him. Everyone's like, man, I don't know if that's bad taste. And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, they're immortalized, aren't they?
That's so true, though. But it's like people are so fascinated by serial killers in general. We're working on Richard Ramirez right now. We just did the first part, and then I realized we couldn't do it all in one because there's so much to it. So we're doing the second part in about a week, probably. But that guy's like just no remorse, crazy fucking maniac. No remorse. Does not care. One of the more
My favorite is Bruce MacArthur.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get into him at some point because.
Yeah, just going around Toronto killing gay jeets and spreading them on the lawn.
Yeah, that is really did watch though.
Like, was he against everybody?
There's weird things about that guy. I'd like to dive more into him at some point, especially more Canadian serial killers. We've done like Clifford Olson, Picton. I'm gonna get in the conspiracy stuff when we cover him. But Bruce MacArthur used to pose his victims in like weird like stances, like a lot of serial killers do, like cigars in their mouth, some weird stuff.
Yeah, spreading them in the potted plants all across the city. It's like, wow.
And at that time too, you think like, how did he get away with that?
People aren't paying attention to other people. You can get away with a lot of shit right out in the open.
So how was the tour? You're back from the tour. I heard it was a lot of fun, but obviously it was long too, and all the stuff you guys are driving around and
yeah, it was a long time. Like that's a long time to be away from home and stuck in close quarters with some guys, but we all survived. There was no fights, because to be real, like 3, 4, there's 5 grown men all in a Winnebago. You'd think there's going to be fights at some point, right? Like,
oh yeah,
that's just the way guys are. But no, everything went off fine.
What was Ferry doing boxing dudes? Dude just like be like, oh, I wanna throw hands, and then they do. I just saw the one clip.
Yeah, pretty much. They'd people would bring boxing gloves to the events and ask him to fight after that too. Like,
that's so funny.
Yeah, he was just boxing fellas.
We used to do that back in the day. So there was what do we call it? The alley. There was this place called it was right by my house, and my dad had old school boxing gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alan Lejeune is a good one. We actually covered him on this podcast. My buddy lives near where all that stuff took place. I used to old school, like the really padded ones, and dudes would just show up and be like, yo, you got the gloves? And just people from the neighborhood, like I think I was in grade 6 or 7 when that was going on, and the grade 8s would come, grab the boxing glove, go in the alleyway, pick their victim, whoever they would want to fight. I'd fight like dudes' older brothers and get my ass kicked and stuff. And like, it was just fun, right, man?
It's a rite of passage for guys. Like we all did. When I was 13 years old, grade 7, my gym teacher would do that.
Really?
It's like, you guys are going to fight. There's going to be no recesses or not recesses, no detentions and no suspensions. Here's the gloves, and we go in the gym. Everybody stands in a circle. It's like, all right. I've only seen it actually happen like twice.
But that's kind of like, if especially back in the day, now everyone's too sensitive. But this idea of like, say there's 2 guys and they're beefing or whatever, just duke it out. A lot of people like to like flap their gums a lot and stuff like that. And it's just like, if you're not going to back it up, then you shouldn't be talking shit. Like my brother was tough, he ADHD kind of crazy kid, but he used to like fight with his eyes closed kind of, and just like swing. And there was like his blood and snot like stained on this fence and shit. It's so crazy.
Yeah, guys used to do it all the time. One of my best friends, that's how I met him, is I got into a fight with him.
So crazy. It's so funny. We used to do that stuff all the time. We did that in high school, good old boxing. Yeah, just the hockey room. Hopefully you got your pants on though. Like swinging arms with your fucking dick hanging out. So funny. So yeah, like how'd the tour go? Anything like out of the ordinary? Like I knew some people, like somebody threw some eggs or something like missed, but
yeah, it was a pretty lame attempt, to be honest with you, for people to try and get to us. That was in Ottawa after Dina Sharif.
I thought she was in jail.
She was in jail, but she got out. She did have conditions saying she's not allowed to go to protests or anything to do with Israel or Palestine. So when she came by, we saw her. We're like, oh fuck, let's get a Palestine flag.
Yeah, oh yeah. She's crazy, man. Of all the people I've seen, like it's not one dude, I can't remember his name. He always is going live on Facebook in Ottawa. And Daisy? It's just like, yeah, Daisy. She's always just there. It's like,
yeah.
So. Derek met a dog that eats communists. Did you actually?
I did. Yep. Yeah. I also got to meet a wolf.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The dog that ate communists. That was Ed. Ed brought it to Hamilton. Yeah. Yeah. People are just bringing dogs to the events. Like, it was a really good time. Like, it might be overselling it if I said we sold out every event, because I don't know. It's hard to tell if you sell out. Like, we were at capacity for each one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you
I
could
know, I was
use that
supposed to be there in
terminology, sold
Hamilton,
out.
but I was like 3 hours away at a cottage. I was enjoying myself. I was on mushrooms, but I was like disappointed. I remember when it was like the Wednesday or whatever, I was at the cottage. I said to my wife, I was like, I was supposed to be there right now. She's like, well,
Aw.
you're here. Enjoyed myself.
Yeah, that was really funny. Like that one, some Antifa kids showed up, and then they were trying to hide. So they had masks on to hide their identity, and then they would go over to the kids' baseball game and sit and pretend they're watching the kids, right? Which is no better. It's like, so Karima's boyfriend, who was there documenting the event, went outside and asked them, like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" "Oh, we're watching the kids." "Oh yeah, which kid?" I don't know. Like, well, now it's got weird. You're just sitting there watching the kids play baseball, and you don't even know which one you're watching, and you're covering your faces.
It's crazy, and they're like, it's so pathetic that because they realistically they've been radicalized, and especially if it's younger kids, early 20s, and to somehow, I don't know, believe that communism is a good thing. And it's just like, I don't know, they've never read a history book. All these people are like, they see a video on it on like TikTok or YouTube or something like that. They're like, I like that. That seems like a good ideology, and then you don't like do any research into like the history of like
Well,
what
it's what they're sold, right? Like, you think how many people we were sold that, or a lot of people on the right wing are sold that capitalism is good.
Yeah.
And people on the left growing up is that communism is good, right?
Yeah.
So you have these two different generations saying, "Oh, capitalism is good," and they blame communism because they were scared of like what the Russians did and whatever else. And then these younger people that are more worried about fascism. Fascism and capitalism are the same, and they're not far off, to be honest with you. I mean, it's communism and capitalism are part of the same same structure, I guess you could say. One always leads to the other.
I've always said that we've never seen true capitalism technically, because the market is not free. It's manipulated like a puppet. Like, especially some of the big corporations are able to manipulate the stocks. God knows what the ability they have to be able to sway the money one way or the other. So we've never actually seen what a free market looks like, because it's always been bought out by whatever, the Rothschilds, the Habsburgs, the Rockefellers, all these families that have existed for seems like a very long time.
Well, I'm not sure you can get capitalism without the crony in it. I mean,
think?
whoever gets the most money first is going to have the advantage.
It's true. It's true.
Right. And then you keep getting these monopolies that keep happening where they're buying it, like Bell and Rogers. Now, how do you get out of that?
I know.
We're stuck with this monopoly. And Canada used to have anti-monopoly laws, much like when Enbridge had a monopoly on the gas industry, but they also had a monopoly on the service industry, so that you could just say, "Oh yeah, come and fix my furnace," and just put it on their gas bill, and you could pay so much off your gas bill every month. Well, they thought that wasn't fair to other HVAC companies, so they had to split into two companies: one that sold the gas and one that serviced the appliances. Right? It was really weird, but they did have a monopoly. Like, there was no competition, because you would just always call the gas company to fix your stuff.
Well, and it seems like, I don't know, Canada is going more and more towards the communist agenda, and that, like, to me, it all like goes back to, at least I think, the New World Order, and a lot of these documents that have been put in place, and a kind of a structure they can follow of how to enslave people, especially into the debt-based money system. But now Trudeau is coming out and he was like, you know what, like like, I don't trust either side. We've talked about this before, you know, and they're like, we're not good. The conservatives want to, invest into these contractors. We're not going to do that. We're going to lease the land to these contractors. So they're admitting that they're going to be using this communist tactic so you'll never actually own any of the property. It'll be leased out by the government. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's a dangerous, dangerous thing.
They started a program in tandem with that before about how the Liberal government is going to help you pay for the down payment on your house.
Yeah, I would never trust the government.
No, why would you
ever.
want to be co-owners or with anything or business partners with the fucking government? The hell with that.
Yeah, they're
Like-
really trying to push that communist agenda and stuff, and it's quite wild. I'm reading this book right now. You probably like I have to actually have this. I'm gonna decide if this is actually any good, but on humans, the secret history of communist revolutions and how to crush them. Let's see if they give any pointers when I read it. But I'm also reading this book called Illuminati, the cult that hijacked the world, and it's written by a Jewish guy that hates Zionist and doesn't practice Judaism, but he was born into a Jewish family, and he like calls out all of their shit about like them hijacking the money system, all this stuff. And it's so far I've got only like a little bit into it. I was at the cottage, and so far it's pretty good. Like I'm enjoying it.
I was going to get into one in myself tonight because I'm going to have a fire tonight, so I was going to sit outside. Nice. It's called the Canadian Establishment. It's an old book. It's been canceled. I've read little parts of it and stuff like that, and it talks about Jewish power in Canada. And that's one thing I did a stream yesterday just to show some people how embedded these tentacles are with Bernie Farber. You know who he is, right?
Yeah.
He's the head, or he was the head of the anti-hate directory. He was the director of anti-hate. He's also been when he was in school, or is he just using the school to start a program to help Russian Jews emigrate to Canada? And the documentary I showed yesterday was him standing with Irvin Abella. Irvin Abella was the author of None is Too Many.
Yeah.
None is too many is the line that was used during World War II when Lyon Mackenzie King was prime minister and said, "Hey, there's a boatload of refugee Jews here." He said, "No, none is too many. We don't want them."
That's hilarious. That's funny because
it keeps going actually because Irvin Abella, right, is the one whose book actually influenced Canada's immigration policy to allow them to start letting in Jews, and he ended up marrying. I forget her exact name, but she sits on the Supreme Court of Justice now, and she's talking about hate speech laws.
That's so funny. So I created a show just for the shits and giggles called Tomcast. I was like, I want to put that name out there. That's a fun name. So I said to get away, like, so my show is obviously like, it's meant to be fun, conspiracy based, talking about obviously politics too, government. But I was just gonna see if I could entertain people yelling into a microphone, so to speak, right? So I did, and I brought up on the first episode Mackenzie King because he believed like he could talk to ghosts and stuff. Like he used to do seances to contact.
Shit. Come on, did he really?
Yeah, it's crazy. He did seances to contact, I think, his wife, and then his one dog died, and he got another one and named it the same name, and then eventually that dog died, and he got a third dog, and he used to do seances and call his dead dog.
I gotta read more about that.
He did like crystal. He had a crystal ball and shit. It was like I was
Come
like,
on.
Yeah, is that weird?
Really? That's weird as fuck
100%.
because I really like Lyon Mackenzie King.
Yeah, so we got a lot of them get into the occult stuff, like Abraham Lincoln's fat frumpy wife, like she after he died, she was like contacting him. Supposedly he was like in a background of a picture. I doubt it was actually him though. But I just found that out and I was like, that's so weird, man. But you just even look it up. See if I can find that Lincoln ghost photo, because you'll see what I mean about his wife.
That's kind of cool. I want to hear about that.
She's a frumpy bitch. Oh yeah, here it is. So so funny. Look at this lady. Did I say frumpy or what?
Damn.
This lady's face. Yeah, well, you can see according to them, that's like his ghost in the background. Like you can see his ghost.
Oh yeah, I see that.
It could be superimposed. They obviously did that to like trick people. But who knows? Because I think anything could be possible, but
they were probably trying to stall him out of the picture and they weren't as good at it.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, she's not a really good looking lady. But do you know there's theories that Lincoln was gay? Did you ever hear about this?
Lincoln, I haven't heard about him being gay, but a lot of other Like JFK and stuff I have.
JFK, that's sad.
Yeah.
Like shit. Well, I there's so many things that people are like, oh, what the hell? But yeah, supposedly he never slept with his wife, but he slept with his companion a lot in the same bed. People claim and like people witnessed this. So
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, it's crazy. The whole leasing the land thing is nuts. Exposure was long back then. Tricking, yeah, it's true. She enabled erectile dysfunction. Yes, yeah. Well, if you had a wife like that, would you not be gay? Like, just kidding. It's just like, look at her face, though. It's just so funny. Yeah, and there's supposed to be like, there's tons of people that said that this rumor was true. Who knows? But there was what's the guy? Was it who dressed up like a in drag? It's gonna bug me. Not Eisenhower. It might be
one of them
Eisenhower.
dressed in drag. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. One of the presidents like loved dressing in drag.
Doesn't surprise me. Oh, that's Barack, isn't it?
Oh, he dressed in some weird satanic outfits.
Barack was fucking no, that'd be Michelle.
Yeah, Michael, Big Mike. Like there's this lady that I want to get on the show. Somebody that likes the stuff I'm doing. Pointed her to me or whatever, and she analyzes all these celebrities that could be guys, and she does this like test where she puts like the female.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, she did Trudeau as well, and how he's got like birthing hips.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff, man. Like, and I'm like,
I could totally see Trudeau if like, I know it's not true because we've seen him with his shirt off, but if he just took his shirt off and he had zipper tits, like I would not be surprised if he looked like Elliot Page with his shirt off.
Well, people think he's gay. Like, there's a lot of people that think he is gay, and there was that rumor that he like fucked Marcon in France or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they're both Rothschild babies, aren't they? I mean, Macron is.
Yeah.
And Justin Trudeau was also his babysitter when he was young, was a man by the name of John Seeley, Seeley.
Oh, yeah,
Look up his. Yeah, the Pied Piper of pedophilia.
Yeah, I have to do an episode on that because that shit's crazy. There's also other Canadian guys like the Jeffrey Epstein of Canada.
Nygaard?
Yes, I want to talk about him at some point because that shit is crazy.
You know what's even more interesting than that? When you look at Epstein and Nygaard and the different things that the long noses have been doing, go into history and find out what they've been doing. They've been doing the exact same thing, like the blood libel.
Oh yeah,
and ritual sacrifice.
It's crazy. There's if you go back and there's especially throughout history of all the times, the 1500s, 1400s of the Jays. Yeah, well, that too, over 109 countries, and then like 1,000 different places, not like the actual like towns or cities or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is crazy because they have like a list of like all the times that people were like, oh, this murder happened. They had to arrest this person, and like
it's how crusades start too. It's like, oh, they'd found this Christian baby with his blood drained and ritual puncture marks in his head, and they found him, and well, that's how they ended up getting expelled from Spain or from fucking.
Yeah, and that's where, and people are like, you know, what the Christians did with the Crusades, but according to a lot of people and scholars, it was because Muslims were encroaching and taking over Christian nations and stuff like that. So who knows?
Happens quite often.
Sophie gave Trudeau 2 Valentine's Day gifts: a suit and a skillet. Yeah, it is. So I just looked it up. People also say that that Franklin D. Roosevelt wore a dress, but the one I definitely heard of was J. Edgar Hoover.
Well, I'd say that we were probably already infiltrated by Israelis at that point then.
The communist agenda. And it is because all that stuff seems to go back to that. Like feminism is related to communism, and then like transgenderism. Like I wrote out a whole episode about the Weimar Republic. I'm waiting till after like Halloween because we're gonna dive into some fun stuff before that. But I got all this info. I want to like really get images and really get a good presentation to expose the Weimar Republic because it's like crazy some of the stuff that was going on there. They're fucking horses and animals and all sorts of shit.
Yeah. It was literally their tourist economy because they were all so poor that's how they would bring money in.
Which is, and there's like child prostitutes. You call up a 13-year-old and they deliver like a kid.
You could fuck pregnant women, children, animals,
Fucked.
and there are still people today that call that like peak democracy.
I know, and it's just like that's what's crazy. It's like degeneracy is something that has always taken hold of certain societies. It's happening in Canada, and it demoralizes the people, and then it gives them the excuse to be addicted to all sorts of disgusting depravity and sex, and having healthy sex, with someone you care about, or even going out, like when you're young, get out of your system, so to speak, right? But as you get older, you should value morals and ethics within a woman and stuff.
You want proper love, you don't have sex with anybody else. You save it. Men and women. If you actually saved it for your marriage and whatnot, worked on it together, it becomes more of a a union together.
Oh,
if your woman has never had sex before, your penis is perfect.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
weird.
That's kind of what they want, right? I think that was the whole idea of keeping someone's virginity, because you let's say you had like a 2-inch cock. What difference would it make if she's never seen a 3-inch?
It's true. And it's so funny because like people think I'm crazy, but I lost my virginity very young to this foxy blonde chick. I was like 13. She was like 14. And she's the one that kind of put me in, kind of pulled me into it. And all my friends thought she was hot. So I was like, and we're all like young kids. I had a big group of friends, there's 7, 8 of us, running around this town I lived in. And then, so like, I was like, I'm going to be the first one. And it was definitely in the conditioning. Cause like I grew up when the internet was just becoming like a big thing when I was like 12, 11. And then you have access of dial up where it's just like you're just waiting for a boob to show up after like slowly.
Your parents bought one of those black boxes for movies, and you could get up to 73 and see a titty. A descrambled titty.
Johnny, 2-inch cock. You got cameras up my house. That's funny. Coming on their show was fun. Johnny's good shit. He's a funny dude. I like that guy.
Yeah. Have you gone on his show?
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah, right on.
They're laid back, right? And it's like they got a good sense of humor. It is crazy because there's so many things that are happening in the world, right? And I truly believe, after all the stuff I've researched for so long, that it's just order out of chaos. They want to implement all this chaos so they can bring order to the populace. And I'm so sick of all these conservatives and being like, oh, PP's gonna do this, PP was gonna do that. Like, it's crazy to me. I'm like, they're all the same. How can after all this time you voted for however long in your life, especially some of the older ones that are like in their 50s and 60s, like, well, I remember when Harper was in, and just like, or even further back, it was never as great as you think it was. It was definitely better than what it is now. Like, I was thinking the last couple of weeks how much I miss what the world was like when I was like a teenager and in my early 20s. It wasn't as crazy. I was super in depth into conspiracy and reading and stuff and alien talk and all that, but it was kind of more fun. Where now it's like I've seen this plan unfold that I was reading about or listening to David Icke talk about it when I was like 16, and it's like people should be scared and aware of that. This stuff is happening.
Yeah. I mean, there's a happy balance, I think. Yeah, you need to be scared and aware, but you also need to be prepared.
Yeah, I agree.
And preparation can take 10 years. It can take 12 years. It could take even longer. You know what I mean? Like, if the banks were to crash tomorrow, what state would you be in?
I'd be okay for a bit. Like, we have a garden, money saved up. We I try to save up.
No, banks crash. Money's done.
I know it's true. I have no, I've no gold. I get my buddies a couple of like I know a buddy that saves up. Like, he has a little bit of, I'm not much, or I would think, but I do have friends that are aware of things that could happen. Some of them have like big properties and stuff like that. I don't want to say too much, but that I would be okay for a while. I do have I have a whole bunch of books about like living out in the woods. It's like the books.
It's wild, right? When you actually put yourself to the test, you think, "Oh shit, how long could I last?"
I know, and that's kind of what you're doing.
We're already leveraged past the point of Venezuela was before it crashed.
You think
right?
so?
we're leveraged past what they were.
Mhm.
Now, it could happen here. We have so much natural resources. If handled correctly, we would never be poor. We would never have to worry about anything. We have enough natural gas that if we wanted to stop our dependency on getting food from the United States in the wintertime, we could have enough gas to heat up greenhouses and shit like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's what we
But
should.
we're not prepared. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And maybe that's what they want. Like, I don't believe this, but you got like obviously. I'm a conspiracy nut, but I'm not like a nut that's cracked yet. You know what I mean? There's people that are like, the WEF secret documents say they're going to kill 5 billion people in 2025. I'm like, that's a stretch. They'd have to do a lot to achieve that, but
quite
I
a
would
bit.
ask them.
But would that not coincide with the Georgia Guidestones?
Yeah, 500 million, and then they destroyed them.
How many billions of people are on the earth right now?
They
Like-
see, they say like 8 billion or whatever. But how do we know that? How do we know how many? Because people are like, whoa, they like document it and stuff.
Right? Who the fuck's doing a head count in Africa?
I know. So how
You
do
know
we
what I mean?
know?
Like, I understand if you tell me Germany's population back in the 40s, I believe you because they got that shit locked under fucking good record keeping.
Yeah,
Canada, we have no fucking idea. So many people coming in and out. We don't have a tally. America, no. Like, maybe Poland might. Maybe Poland might have a good grip on fucking how many people are in their country.
that is true. We don't have a nationwide emergency preparedness drills ever. It's so true. It's like
No,
we
we
don't
don't.
prepare for shit. And like Johnny said, obviously the craziest thing back then was like you talk about aliens. And everyone's like, you're crazy. And now they just admit that at least they know of stuff. Like there's Paul Hellyer, one of the defense ministers of
Ex-minister
Canada.
of defense. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I've stuff written about him that I eventually want to get into. But he's pretty wild, and he claimed that there was like 5 different alien races that they know of that have been in contact with us. And I'm like, that shit. He seems kind of trustworthy. Just his demeanor and how he speaks about stuff. It seems like he
He seems to have no reason to lie, but why would the
I know.
Canadian government allow him to say this shit?
He said it in like Parliament. I remember telling my buddy, he's like, no way. And I was like, yeah, there's video footage of this. So
I don't know if it was Parliament, but it was some sort of hearing.
yeah,
I remember seeing him at some sort of hearing. So if he's the ex-minister of defense, that means Harjit Singh knows the same shit as him,
Yeah, I know. It's just kind of scary.
right? Like,
Yeah. So weird.
it's not like the fucking aliens are coming. Maybe the Sikhs are one of the alien race, and they use that turban to hide the fucking giant head they have.
The elongated skull. I don't like. I so far I've told you I worked with a Hindu dude, and I tell him all the time about the shit I think, and I told him I hate Sikhs. He's like, I was like, I don't like them. I don't like the religion. I was like, why they wear that goofy shit on their head anyway? And he's like, I don't really know, something to do with their long hair or something.
Yeah, they're not supposed to cut their hair.
It's so weird. I saw I was driving to work yesterday. I saw one wearing just the turban, no helmet on a motorcycle. And I was like, wear a fucking helmet. I screwed out my window. I was just pulling to work. I was like, whatever, fuck that guy.
Oh, dude, safety and standards used to be paramount in Canada. You know what I mean? Like we would get annoyed with how much safety we were doing.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I got to wear this stupid orange vest. You know, I got to wear steel toes. I got to wear a hard hat, all this stupid shit. And then the fucking Indians come here, the Jeets. Okay. When you're talking about that's Sikhs, Hindus, the whole lot of them from that area of the world.
Yeah.
Dude, they have no safety standards whatsoever.
No. I saw
Every single day you can go on the highway that leads from my town to like next town and whatever else. The 1117 is closed every fucking day because 2 Jeets and trucks hit each other somehow.
Yeah, of course. It's a Crown Shocker to China. And so I have this clip, so I might as well play it since we're talking about their bad driving practices. Like,
why do they even have a line on the road?
I know.
Like, insanity.
Oh man, It is crazy. No, and then yeah, so we can fit the entire population within Cape Breck. It's true. Cause so there's a guy named I think it's Max Eager, an Australian dude. He's actually pretty knowledgeable, and he was really talking out. He lives in like the woods, I think in Australia. It'd be interesting to get him on the show if I could try to find him. I don't know where to find him, but I've listened to his talks a couple times of him just kind of speaking out. And he was like talking about how do we know how many people are on Earth? Because they tell us. And he was like, according to how much land there is or whatever, you could give everyone in the world a house with this size property or whatever and fit them all into Texas. If they had just a little like not like much, but enough for like a house and a little bit of property and stuff. So there is that, and it's like, is that a big conspiracy that they were being lied to? Oh, it's overpopulated, but yet we have so much land. People claim there's an ice wall, then there's more land.
Well, it's ridiculous how they say that we're overpopulated because there's plenty. I just went on a tour across Canada. There's plenty of land. There's lots of land. If people wanted to live on this land, they could. It's just they want to sell it to us. Oh, it's overpopulation. No, it's not. It's a skill deficiency is what it is.
Yeah, Max Egan. Yeah. That guy's great.
If you were to give yourselves enough land, everybody could grow enough food for themselves. We wouldn't need this giant military style chain of fucking commerce, where it's all centralized and we get everybody's got it. Why is Walmart bringing me my carrots when I can grow them?
I know. We keep getting jalapenos, and they're fresh jalapenos. We did poppers, and I think I died. I died the next day. It tastes good going in. We were watching like Joe Rogan's new stand-up at the time. I was like, and I gave him props for what he talked about.
It was pretty good. It was all right.
I liked it. And then we're just eating them, and the next day I'm like dying. It's like because they're like right off the stick, and it's fresh, and they were fucking ruthless on me.
Nice.
I gotta be careful. I ate like a shit ton because I'm like they're jalapeno poppers were my favorite food. I gotta say, it's so good if you make them right.
I'm not big on hot food. I can't do spicy. No, I can't do spicy. Barbecue chips.
Go to India then.
Barbecue. Never. Yeah, dude, it's that bad.
That's so funny. Do you like mayonnaise?
Nope, don't do the mayonnaise. I was fucking white bread when I was growing up, man. Ham and cheese sandwiches.
That's so funny.
Like English food.
Yeah, my grandma used to do the bologna with mayonnaise on a white bread, and it just was like gold back then. It tastes so good when I was a kid.
Noodles and fucking it was all processed crap except for Yorkshire pudding. And we do a roast. It was pretty not spicy whatsoever.
Well, that's what somebody mentioned how the government owns 88% of the land of Canada, obviously, and then the crown does. And even someone mentioned about the indigenous land, how they lease it the same way. And I've said this before where people want to I can't change the past and what happened to the indigenous, and a lot of it was disease and stuff like that. And they always want to blame the people that came over here on boats that barely survived. It was the government and the military, whatever was done on a record and stuff like that we know of. And obviously they lied to cause division and all sorts of stuff. But the chiefs act the exact same way as the politicians do. I talked to someone that was he was in the Navy, and someone from a family friend, and he heard me talking to my dad about the government, and I was just hanging out with my dad. I'm like, oh, did you hear about this or whatever? And then he was there, and he was his ex-Navy, and he worked on the reserves and stuff just outside doing some certain work or whatever for contracting, something like that. And he said that the chiefs are so crooked and do the shadiest shit to steal all the money.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's crazy, man. And it's nuts because people want to go at each other's throat over everything. I'm like, the reserves are kind of communist in their own right, kind of. And it's just I drive through them. I drive through them all the time. I'm not far from the Six Nations one near Brantford. And it's they're not. I don't know why aren't they using their land to produce stuff other than tobacco, crops and food. They're not. I don't see any of that.
I don't know. I got a reserve close to me too, and they've all got brand new solar panels, new fences, shitty roads. But
it's just so strange because you get your smokes on the reserve, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're
gonna have gas soon too.
What do you mean?
Well, they're working on a gas station. It's just having trouble finding people to work on it.
Of course.
Because
And
it's contracts that have got the contracts, like, so it's going to take a while.
have
But
you ever heard? You ever heard of the? Speaking of the indigenous and stuff, you ever heard the stories about the Wagas?
Wagas?
Yeah,
What's
it's
a
one
Waga?
of them. A white person. So
Oh,
supposedly the indigenous multiple tribes have stories about them coming in contact with white when they supposedly showed up here with white giants. Some people think they're the Vikings, but the weirdest thing is the Wagas were red haired with blue eyes, similar to the people, the stories about the Nephilim, which is very weird. And there's literal like documented footage. An indigenous woman wrote a book in the late 1800s about the Wagas, and the craziest thing is too, right? They supposedly taught them how to be civil and to be able to live with each other, and they claim all this stuff. And this is where a lot of times you get the swastika that they used to put on a lot of the indigenous clothing.
yeah, the Thunderbird.
Yeah, it's crazy. I brought this up on one of the episodes I was attempting to do with Tomcast. I was like, check this out, because like there's some definitely weird stuff to do with that, and people pointed to. And then supposedly they just packed up and left, and didn't know where they were going. Kind of like we're leaving, bye bye, and and nobody knew where they went. But the blue eyes and red hair thing is weird because people were supposedly talk about that with the Nephilim. And the Nephilim supposed to be, that's where we get our depictions of clowns, because the Nephilim had big shoes, had red hair. There's a really weird shit to do with that, man. It's like a wild conspiracy.
Nope, never heard of that. A bunch of fucking sideshow Bobs walking around.
Yes, see like obviously you see the depictions of this. Pretty weird, right? And then like people don't want to acknowledge, like it was the people don't know the history of the symbol to begin with. And then during World War II, they're like, yeah, we can't use this anymore.
Yeah. Well, according to them, it got aggressively rebranded.
Yeah.
But it's backwards.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, I know. Is that weird? This guy's like, I love my carpet, my swastika carpet. So weird. But like there is really weird stories of all that stuff, and I find it interesting. Max left Australia, not weird. People talk about Antarctica. I kept trying to keep up with all the chats. Everyone's talking about some crazy shit. Yeah, the natives are sold out too, and everyone went to the Crown, obviously, and then it's like the real, because people think that the Israelis and the Jews control stuff, but then there's people like Sam Tripoli and stuff that believe that it all comes from London, and it's all like the oligarchy in London, and then it's the manufacturer of the money system within London. So it's weird. We don't really. There's obviously.
I've heard that one before from London, but if you ask me, London's being taken over. Like, did they sell out to the Sauds? Like,
but then there's supposed to be like Saudi princes that are actually Jewish, but they're hiding and they change their name. I heard stuff like that. There's so many like levels to this shit. And it's like, who actually knows?
Yeah, who knows? Like, Canada's got so many other problems as well.
I know, and that's something you like to bring to light, is that to focus on the rest of the world. Like the UK's gone nuts, man. My buddy's in Ireland, and it's going crazy there, and it's sad.
Yeah.
In my
well,
opinion.
It's sad to see, because that's technically would be considered my motherland, right? My dad was English, my mom was 6th generation Canadian, and yeah, that's where I wanted to visit one day. I have 2 brothers that actually live there right now, and one has a black wife and 2 mixed children. So who knows if race riots kick off over there, what's going to happen?
Yeah, it seems they're obviously protesting. They're housing them like they're doing in Canada. Like I heard today that the refugees were getting $240 a day, and now people are claiming it's $5,000 a month that they're promising to all these refugees, and that's crazy. That's crazy. That's like that's a little less than I make, but like it's crazy. That's absurd that you're handing out this money to people and stuff.
They've been doing it forever for different people in different programs. There are people that make a living off of dealing with Canada's bureaucracy and looking at the programs that you can get, the money you can extract from the government.
Well,
Bill Morneau, who is the guy who did the 2018 budget when I first started paying attention, and he allocated a ton of money for his own company, Morneau Chappelle. And what they used to do is that company used to get government grants for different schooling programs. So one of the grants that was made in 2018 was that any woman that wanted to get into a male-dominated Red Seal trade would have their education paid for. And this is when the training thing was first starting to kick off. So I was telling guys, like, just tuck and tape your Timbits to your taint and you can fucking go get a free education. Right?
Yeah.
But then when you look closer at it, you're just going to see a ton of fucking Indian women stuck in these classrooms getting their gas license and plumbing apprenticeships and never go to do the work. They're just cycling money through this place.
Out the door. And it's like all on the backs of us for this invisible money. And it is crazy because it's like we can't even take care of our own people. Like why I know why, but it's just like the people are like, well, the conservatives are going to save us. Like, have you ever seen, like, if you ever studied history and understood like what is actually going on, they may slow down the plan a bit, but obviously there's something to do with the clergy plan. I wanted to play this clip. I'm going to play two clips. I'll play this one of, Canada has changed a lot. So let's just see an example of this.
Around, easily bullied and unable to fight back. I'll tell you, that's not me and it's not you. It's not our Canada. And it certainly doesn't describe the Canada of my youth. Let me say, when I was a young boy, we all have heroes.
So for all the audio listeners, that was Waterloo, which is crazy, in Ontario, of like during the convoy, a lot of the protests that were going on against the government, and then it flips to like a big concert just nothing but Indians. And it's just
where are all those fucking people during the convoy when we're having our own issues within Canada? They don't give a fuck. They're only worried about their own interests.
Yeah, 100%. I've noticed that. I had Tiana True Seeker on last night. She's great. And she's talking about how she doesn't like the freedom movement because it's gonna erode it.
I wouldn't mind talking to her actually. I think I just watched one of her videos on Twitter recently.
She's great.
The blonde-haired girl?
Yes. We went off about the Olympics and the WEF agenda, and about what's her name? Nancy Pelosi said on television she was a reptilian.
Oh, that cold-blooded.
Yeah, so wild. All these people
I was just wondering if she's trolling us.
I know. But like I told like Jeremy about my story that I saw shadow people. I know what I saw. I was fucking stone sober. I saw things that it felt like I had sleep paralysis, felt like someone was trying to suck my soul out of my body. It was one of the most frightening experiences I've ever had. And I said yesterday when we did the live stream, I was like, I've already proven to myself that there's stuff outside of this reality. I've messed around with the Ouija boards when I was very young and seen weird stuff happen. So if people want to deny that there's things that exist outside of a reality, like I've already proven to myself, I saw shit that I can never explain. And I walked to my door, stone sober, and looked up, and there was this 7 foot tall shadow creature that looked down at me, and it was frightening. And I was like 19. Just got back. It was crazy, man. It's like, I don't know. It was so wild.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's definitely there's stuff out there, and it is the government to blame, and for all these policies and the things that are happening. But there's people that are taking advantage of this, obviously, and they're not really bringing quality people in general, anyway. And they're admitting to wanting to scam people. Like a dude I know works with this Indian guy, and he's essentially saying, "Oh, you guys know how to scam the system." And it's just we're not supposed to be scamming the system. It's supposed to benefit us all. And now you have the food banks that 95% of the people go in the food banks, especially in a place like Toronto and bigger cities.
Yeah,
are not born in this country.
Exactly. They come from a scamming culture. That's what they do in
Too
India
late.
is they scam. I totally will blame the individuals trying to scam my people in a high trust
Yeah.
society that was built by my ancestors. I 100% will blame them.
I know. I agree. And they don't care. They think it's hilarious. They're laughing about it, doing videos.
Yeah.
Oh, we get free food. Those people, like, I hate it. Like, it disgusts me.
Yeah.
People
Yeah,
are,
absolutely does.
you know,
Excuse me.
Quebec are embarrassments. You would never guess that they led the first Crusades. Yeah. I've always been bothered by Quebec just because, like, you go there, like, and you know, everything's in French. Everything's got to be bilingual in the rest of the country. And I'm not gonna lie, I never learned French, never cared. I remember in high school, the French teacher didn't like me, and I used to just like cause a ruckus. And then he said, "If you just shut the fuck up and sit there, I'll pass you with a 65." And I was like,
I
"Sweet."
think that's what most of us got. Yeah. Just like, get the fuck out of here. We know they knew that we were never going to use it again either. But
Oh no,
I do envy Quebec with their more distinct identity, though.
I agree. We've been eroded, and it's like, and I've heard like Alex talk about this stuff too. Is what it changed after the instant flag did get changed, and we changed the flag that we have now. It was around the same time, and it was during when the liberals were in power, and then that Multiculturalism Act passed, and it's just like it was all around the same time.
Yeah, and then we started letting in all the undesirables.
Yeah, and like I heard that, like, didn't before like the 60s you essentially have to come from European descent.
Yes.
Or at least more or less.
It was a white policy in Canada, or Eurocentric. It was supposed to be a European diaspora of people.
Well, and then like it is weird because we were talking about the Jewish agenda yesterday a little bit because like my co-host Billy has known me for a long time. I met him when I was working as a chef when I was like 19. He was like 16 or 17. And then when I started the show, he was like funny. He's like he's a comedian, makes me laugh. So I was like, you want to start a show together? And it's like, that's been like 7 years. And the beginning, we got a little too drunk and we just go off and make really offensive jokes. But we did the Anunnaki episode, and he's like, and I was bringing up the Jewish agenda shit, and buddy that was on it has listened to the show for a bit, and he's like, "How long have you listened to the show, Jules?" And he's like, "I don't know, like 2 years." And Billy's like, "Yeah, so Tom, if you've noticed, goes through these phases where he gets obsessed with the topic for like 4 to 6 months, and he's like, right now we're in the Jew phase." Super interesting. So I was talking about it with Tiana, and she thinks that some of it could be misinformation and misdirected, but I'm like, there's so much proof and evidence of like of like the Pfizer being dominantly controlled, a lot of the banking industries. There's evidence is there, and then there's videos like this. I'll clip this one in.
Is doing away with whiteness. Whiteness is a form of racial oppression. Sure, the suggestion is that it is somehow possible to separate whiteness from oppression, and it is not. There can be no white race without the phenomenon of white supremacy. If you abolish slavery, you abolish slaveholders. In the same way, if you abolish racial oppression, you do away with whiteness. Treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity.
Your views are fairly well received in academia.
Yes, they're legitimate, not to say that everyone agrees, but sure. I could not point to any examples where it has provoked political censorship. To me, whiteness is an identity that arises entirely out of oppression. Whiteness is not a culture, it's not a religion, it's not a language, it's simply an oppressive social category. Blackness is an identity that can be plausibly argued to arise out of a resistance to oppression. Black studies is the study of a people that has formed itself in resistance to its oppression. And the task is to bring this minority together in such a way that it makes it impossible for the legacy of whiteness to continue to reproduce itself.
The hubris of that fucking guy, man.
Dude, the evidence is out there. They're not always the most fun videos to watch. They don't have the bells and whistles and jokes and whatever else, but they're literally telling you what they're doing to you.
Yeah, and there's that one can't remember her name. Another Jewish lady. A lot of like the feminist movement backed by Jewish people. She said they have to like force multiculturalism in Europe and crush like. There's a great account for anybody watching and listening called Technocracy 1984 on Instagram. This guy it does a really good job. He has a bit shoot also about putting out videos. All of them are like 10 minutes long. He does it from his computer and he clips from Europa: The Last Battle, but a ton of other documentaries to expose the Jewish agenda. I big up his account because he does a very good job at like trying to expose all this stuff. One of them is pinned is the whole attack essentially on the white race in general, where the goyim, and it is crazy because they're openly saying this stuff constantly all the time, and people could say it's division and it's to cause division so we don't stick together against those in power, but we're 7% of the population and rapidly declining, and who took the most jabby dabby doos and all the other things that we get poisoned with on a daily basis. So
yeah, there's no hiding it. It's just a matter of time before people finally make the connection in their head.
Yeah, it's wild. And someone brought up the Khazarian Mafia. We covered that we did 2 parts because I found that shit fascinating because people think the idea is that there's like the Israelites, which I'm like, it doesn't make sense that they would be white because it's one of they most likely be Arabic. It just doesn't make sense.
Sure.
Like in the desert or whatever, and then the Khazarians maybe infiltrated that religion, and all I'm doing is trying to ask questions, right? Of understanding what happened and what has happened in our past, and unless we were there, nobody's really going to know. But we can read writings of people that were there to try to understand.
Oh, there's information somewhere that that could tell you all, right? But our histories keep getting erased.
Oh,
I think there's
100%.
so many civilizations that have fallen and crumbled and whatnot.
It's sad, and that's why I've always been into like the alien stuff and some of the paranormal aspect of things. We've done so many episodes on my side about that stuff, but the stuff that fascinates me now more than ever is like history, because like I've watched like all of Ken Burns documentaries when I was younger. Really into history, understanding like what happened. My grandfather grew up in the Depression. His brother went off to war. Kind of that influenced me. And then he died. He died too early before I could like have these conversations with him. But then he would not like probably some of my point of view of what was really going on during the war, because everyone was brainwashed by propaganda. But there is definitely like the Victor's Right history. This is interesting. I'm gonna have this chick on called Elizabeth April in October. She claims she channels aliens. She has a huge following. We'll see. She's a very good looking blonde lady, but it's just like she was on Sam Tripoli's show. And he's like, your face is very symmetrical. She like laughs, just like, but she has a video where I saw her on this where she claimed that like originally the Nazi movement was kind of good, that they were trying to like, kick out the Rothschild and the globalist and try to take and build their own country back up and worry about their people. But there's the idea that they were contacting the Vril, they called them. They were super into the occult, and she claims that they got hijacked by the reptilians. Who knows if that's true? But she claims a lot of crazy stuff.
I don't know how the Nazis ended, but think about it. If you ever got into power, right, what would you do? You probably want to check out the pyramids. You'd probably want to check out Operation High Jump, see what was going on there, see what's actually going on in the world. Wasn't that what the Nazis were doing?
Yeah. They went to Antarctica. Like that is crazy stuff. There is footage of them with the boring machines in Antarctica. So that's why I'm like, have you ever seen the movie Iron Sky?
No.
Dude, you have to watch it. Okay, Iron Sky, the first one, was about the idea that the Nazis built a base on the moon. I've made a joke about this because there's a guy named David Wilcock. People think he's kind of crazy, but I've read all 4 of his books. It's interesting to say the least. And he's a weird character. But he did his documentary that was just like them essentially talking shit. There's no real proof, but he said that the Nazis did build a base on the moon. It was shaped like a swastika. And then America eventually took it over once the war ended, and they built it into a square because people felt uncomfortable working in a swastika. That's the funniest shit. So there's a movie.
So many of those, though.
Yeah, there's
Iron Sky, you said?
Iron Sky. So it's the idea that the Nazis built a base on the moon, that they live there, they're teaching their children and all that stuff about the Aryan race. It's wild, right? And then I think they were planning to come down to Earth. I haven't seen it a bit, but then Iron Sky 2 came out. I remember hearing this was supposed to come out like 2016. I waited a long time for it to come out. I heard about the guy was trying to fund it. He's some Swedish guy, and he got all crowdfunding to do this. And the whole movie was them going into Hollow Earth. It wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be, but it's still entertaining. Like you would like Tom Green's a cult leader in it, and so it's fun. They go into Hollow Earth, and then Hitler shows up riding on a dinosaur, and he's like all reptilian, and Margaret Thatcher's reptilian. Dude, it's fun. You should definitely give it a watch, man. I know,
Sounds super Jewish, but
it is. Corey Good for definitely. Yeah, like I was gonna ask you about this. What do you think about things like CERN and them like smashing particles together? And do you think that there is such thing as Mandela effects and that is possible?
Well, I've heard talk of them opening up portholes. I've heard talk of them fucking CERN as well. But people have said that there's proof of it going off. I don't know. I haven't really looked deep into CERN.
Yeah, it's a
There's
weird
so many other things to be concerned about. I really do limit my time recently, and especially after the tour when I was doing this internet and joking. It was like 24/7 we were working.
Yeah.
Like if we weren't talking at a show, we were setting up or we were doing our internet stuff. So it's just I had so much that I'm really bringing it back down to a what I can control level. So I'm just working on my place, and I'm actually going to be trying to influence municipal politics in the town next to me.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what needs to be done is on like a physical level. Like it's fun to talk about this stuff, right? But I do think that there has to be work involved in people in their own self of working out and like making a garden, all sorts of just even for your own self, right?
You really do. I mean, look at any great revolutionary in the past. Did they not have a working homestead first? Like food wasn't an issue. They didn't have to worry about that and line up at the grocery store in order to get it.
Yeah.
Everybody produced their own, you know?
And then before we get into some fun Bigfoot stuff, what have you been kind of like working on wanting to do? And what do you think you're like, did you have any like inspiration or solutions for people of what you think that they should be doing or what we could be doing or anything like that?
Okay. I don't have an actual solution, but I can tell you what I'm trying to do and working towards myself that I think is the only viable way forward if you're going to stay in this country. I've moved myself to unorganized land where we don't have a municipal government. We're going to keep this township from organizing because the UN SDA, the United Nations Sustainable Development Agreement, is implemented through the municipal government. So if our municipality, it's not a municipality, it's a township, if it doesn't organize into a municipality, we can keep it out. Now, here we have what's known as a road board. That's the only taxes we have. There's a little bit of land that we use as a dump. Basically, it's just a ditch in the ground. People throw their shit in.
Yeah.
And it's kept so our property taxes don't go to the government. Our property taxes go to the road board, and then the federal and provincial governments match that. And we take care of our own roads. So we're only paying $200 a year here. If we get annexed by the municipality beside us, like if that road board ever goes into disarray and it stops working, we could be annexed by the town next to us. Meaning my property taxes go up to $6,000 a year. Right? Like this is how they're actually trying to take over land in Canada. They're using the municipalities to expand and take over and buy more land. Not necessarily man, but govern.
Yeah.
And people so they collect more taxes off people. And so I'm living without a mortgage or a rent or anything like that right now So it's very hard for anybody to take my house. I can talk about different things on the internet like Jews and the financial system and stuff
Yeah,
like that because I'm not in debt. I don't
Mm.
owe the bank anything. Nothing,
Yeah.
it can't be taken away from me. Very seldom does the government take your land, and if they do, it's because they're doing some sort of project or something like that. They can take your land, but I mean, it's not very often they do so. And usually there's paperwork and hearings and all that stuff to go
They're
on with
coming
it.
after certain farmers and stuff like that, I've heard, though.
They're still going to come after you. I'm just trying to insulate myself the best I can, right?
Yeah, I agree. That's why I try to do what I can too, because we have a little slice of land and stuff like that, and trying to, like, that's why we dug up the garden. That took a bit, and then got a little fire pit out back. Like we have a decent amount. Like there's trees all around me that I could definitely cut down if I needed wood and stuff like that. I keep trying to sell the wife on one day when we like redo the house is get a wood stove. I'm like, man, I got two buddies that do that. I got one that like he built his essentially on his parents' property. They had a big property, and he built like he calls it the slab. But it's just like it's huge, it's massive. They all built it themselves.
Yeah.
Like he literally carried like logs on his back and stuff, and they're now doing another section for him. We're gonna like get a pool table in there. It's gonna be tons of fun. But it's in the back, like in the woods, like nobody's around at all, in the middle of nowhere, just farmland and stuff like that. So, and it's awesome. He's got a wood stove, and for all the fans of the show, that's where you see us when we're smoking cigars at the bar. He's got a little bar, and we just like smoke cigars and shoot the shit. And it's like his dad was always very conspiracy minded. Like as soon as he found out about me, we'd sit there and we would talk, and he'd show me all these articles. And this guy's obsessed with it, where he'll take screenshots of things he thinks are important, like old school dude, but like is obsessed with the conspiracy stuff. And they've all built a lot of their stuff on their own. They have chickens. And that's where eventually I want to get to, is like, I want chickens. I got the garden already. I do think it's about taking care of yourself and your own, and then trying to help out the community.
Yeah. Yep. Or we're trying to do the same, right? I've got a wood stove in my place. That's the only heat that I have in the summertime, or sorry, in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I have a little propane heater, like one of those camping ones. If I come home and the fire's been out for a while, I'll turn that on real quick or something.
Do you find that the wood stove does enough for what you have?
Yeah.
Keeps you. Yeah.
I'm actually putting an extension on too, and it'll be enough for that. Like when it starts going, it's fucking rocking. You can get those things ripping hot, like
especially and you
with
don't out that often either, right? My buddy's saying as long as you have like some pretty decent wood, you shouldn't have to, because people are like concerned about like, oh, it's going to light on fire, or something's going to happen, it's going to burn down your house. That's a lot of people's concerns are.
No, I got a steel roof, so I'm not too concerned about it. There is guidelines on how high you're supposed to have it so that you're not burning down the forest.
So what are you concerned about the UN? Like, because I've read this too, is like most cities in Canada are signed into the agreement with the UN, and they're going to take control of municipalities. And the UN, in my opinion, is a terrorist organization. So
absolutely is. I don't have a municipality for them to implement it through.
Yeah.
I
would love, because you're in Ontario, but more North Ontario, right?
Yeah, North Ontario.
Yeah, I would love to get together sometime and try to come out that way or do something, because I feel like you probably are not that far from me.
Where are you
at? Near Brantford. I'm in a smaller town, thank God. But so 40 minutes from Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm about an 8-hour drive.
That's how far you are away. Wild. That's pretty far, actually. Because I'm going up to my mom's in North Bay. I'm going up to her place on the weekend. So
yeah, I'm another 3 hours past that, 3 or 4 hours past that.
That's great, Sarah Jane. We have 50 chickens, 2 gardens. Like the greenhouse thing we were originally going to do before we did the garden was maybe just invest into a greenhouse. Because you could do so much shit with that. Like I'm sad I didn't grow a pot this year. I wanted to, and I just did it too late. My buddy's giving me clones, and he dipped on me. So you've always been fascinated with Bigfoot. This will be something fun to end it on after all this depressing.
Yeah, buddy.
This because we were talking about the Boggy Creek Monster last time, and I have to watch that film again because you were that 70s film we were talking about. And a fun time. So it's just something that's always like what kind of interested you, because you like wildlife in general and stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's connected in any way, but um, I think I told you the last time I was on that Bigfoot was my boogeyman, basically.
Oh
So
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, so I still force myself even today. Like I haven't done it yet this year, but I'm gonna go out and sleep in the woods by myself. You know,
yeah.
but this time I'm gonna have a little bit of a twist to it. Um, I'm getting a helicopter to fly me into a remote lake so I can do my fishing there, and I'm gonna spend the night. He's gonna come back and get me the next day.
Yo, no way. Because I saw you that you did the same guy that you were on the copter last time. I
Yeah,
saw you like flying. That's so fun, man. That would be
cool,
wild.
right? It's pretty cool, but I'll tell you, you get a pucker factor of about 11.
Really?
Like,
Oh
if
man.
that's you, because you got no doors.
I
You know what I mean? You're 2,000 feet up, and you're like, "What the fuck?" If
I
this thing
don't like
falls, you're
heights.
just dead. You're just dead. Like,
'Cause I'm not afraid of like anything, but heights is one thing. And I'll go on roller coasters and all that stuff. But we lived in an apartment like years ago, and it was pretty high enough where I just didn't want to look over the side. And it is the idea that I can't. If something happens, that like there's no way around it. If you fall or something happens from a height, you're dead. There's no
yep,
other way around
yep.
it.
Oh
That's the
yeah.
only reason why I don't like it because like anything can
Like,
happen, man.
well, in an airplane, you could glide down. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
the engine goes, you could glide. You could okay, it's a crash landing, but it's not just fucking you just hit the fucking ground, dude. So like,
Oh man.
yeah, we're gonna go. He's gonna
You're
drop
gonna
me
be by
off.
yourself. You gotta get a bunch of deep wood spray or some shit because you're gonna be eaten alive.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be fully prepared. Like I'll have my net suit, I'll have the spray, I'll have coils, I'll have my gun with me, I'll have
Yeah.
my fishing equipment.
And you're gonna
But
go out by yourself.
yeah,
Okay, this will be good. Good to get into. Some these videos are gonna get
pretty
into.
wild, eh? Like I don't care who you are, that's still fucking scary. You know?
That's cool, man. I would love to do that with a buddy. On my own, man. I just feel like I would
Well,
go
that's the
insane.
true test. Like going with
Yeah,
your buddy, you're having fun. You can talk to each other, keep each other sane. You go
yeah.
by yourself, dude. Now that's a fucking
That is crazy, man. I give you props for doing that. I'd love to do something like that. And
well,
like,
I'm only doing it armed. There's no way I wouldn't do it armed.
oh no, I
Like
agree. There's 'cause anything can happen. There's dudes that get attacked by bears. Some of those dudes have like the biggest balls on them though, and will fight back. But you hear this where bears drag people into their cage like crazy shit, or people don't
Yeah.
understand. So we're gonna go through some Bigfoot footage, and then I kind of want you to tell me what you think. And then at the end, someone's like, "Is Ozzy going with you?"
Probably not because of the helicopter.
Yeah, that's true. Someone said
Yeah.
heights not bad. The scuba diving cave. Oh yeah, scuba diving in a deep dark cave. That's also scary because
Scary. I
know?
just wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I know.
Like, is it scary? No, because I wouldn't fucking do it in the first place. That's a terrible idea. That just sounds like a bad idea. Let's
I
go
know.
into
It's
this
like,
deep dark cave where anything could be and live. And no,
and who
Nope.
knows what's down in the ocean? We've done episodes on that stuff where it's like God knows what's down there. And you got the dudes that do like the squirrel jumping or whatever, like they're like flying squirrels, and they'll like come out of like a plane and they'll fly around. I'm like, you're wishing for death, man.
that's
It's a
crazy.
death wish.
That's insane. You see, Buddy did it on a magic carpet.
Really? Fucking Aladdin.
Yeah,
There's
he had a
chance.
parachute with him, but he jumped off with the fucking carpet and he went flying down. I'm like, holy shit, that's real. Like you
Yeah.
could jump off a mountain and fly down on your fucking magic carpet.
It's so weird. And
That's fucking
all that
wild.
these people have to be able to do this. Oh, there's a Bigfoot conference in New Brunswick this week. That's cool. That's one of my other co-hosts. He moved. He was from Ontario, but he moved up to New Brunswick.
I do
I should
that.
tell him about that. I would definitely go to a con like that. I
They
got
had a
buddies.
sighting up where I live here. They had a sighting
Really?
in 2016 or something like that.
See, like I said to you, there's people that think they're interdimensional creatures. I'm more of like maybe they came from Hollow Earth or something, like there's different creatures. There's also a lot of people that believe like the Anunnaki, the belief that they created us and genetically modify our DNA. That's actually supposed to be the reason why we're different colors and different things, like Asians. Like they're like, oh, the sun rose to the east, so they got slinty eyes. It doesn't make sense. So people believe that aliens created us, right? And that according to people like Billy Carter, Carson and stuff, the Anunnaki genetically modified our DNA to create gold, is because there's these. This is all in ancient writings
To
too.
collect gold.
Yeah, all
Because
in
they're
ancient writings. Their atmosphere was depleted,
protect their atmosphere. Yeah.
which is crazy. And they supposedly brought this tribe or whatever you would call them, they called the Ajiji, down with them. And they're supposed to have this kind of agreement where like, oh, we're going to do this together. Right. And the Ajiji were like, no, you're turning me into a slave. Like, I don't like this. And they had essentially a mutiny. So the Anunnaki took whatever was here, the simian ancestors, and tried to develop some sort of slave race of beings. And according to a lot of the research in the ancient text, the reason why there's white people and there's brown people and there's Indians and blacks and all that stuff is because our genetics are slightly modified, and we were actually our skin color, tone, all that stuff is a reflection of the gods that were we were enslaved to. And in the Bible, people really do misquote it, that it says God. It's supposed to say God's. A lot of people don't realize that it's been supposed to be misquoted, and it's supposed to be gods, and that goes to like the Thoth Atlantean shit. It's weird.
It sounds more plausible, doesn't it? I've heard that same story. So would that mean, could those gods or aliens also be considered angels? And could we be the son of, let's say, well, the Jews would probably be son of Lucifer.
Cain. They think that his lineage comes from Cain, the first murderer.
Ah.
Isn't that
I don't know,
weird?
man. Like, there's so many stories.
I know.
Like,
that makes more sense to me, though.
We're only gonna be able to find out if we win.
I know, right? And that's the wildest thing too, is I love all that stuff because I'm like, where the fuck did we come from? Why are we this way or that way? So let's bring up the first clip, the most famous. I have two clips, the OG Roger Patterson footage. Funny thing is too, I just wrote we did a cryptid episode. I've been working on a cryptid rap for a long, my dog ate my rhyme book, and I was like, for fuck's sakes. So I try to remember it. So I wrote a whole song about cryptids, about like Bigfoot and like the Jersey Devil. We just did an episode about the Beast of Blattenboro. And you guys can hear it on there. It's on Rumble, YouTube, all that stuff. But it's pretty entertaining because I'm gonna make it funny as fuck. I talk about how the Dover demon got fucked in the face and is covered in semen. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's supposed to be. But let's check out the first footage. I guess there is no volume, so second the OG footage.
Yeah, Patterson Gimli.
Mm.
Roger Patterson and was it Bart Gimli or something like that? I forget the other guy's name.
What a name, man. Lord of the Rings, man.
I mean, it definitely seems like a dude walking, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it's like Carson's sources from Sitchin who was full of shit. There's actually Sitchin did maybe make up some stuff, but there is other research that have been done. There's archives you can actually look into yourselves. That's what Billy Carson did is literally went to a library where you can search up like tons of these ancient texts and scrolls and stuff like that. And they're all computerized and put into a computer. So there is some truth behind it. Sitchin was probably reached a bit, but there's a lot of information that he did put out there that was most likely true. So here is the footage, but like amplified. It is weird. People like say it could be a guy in a suit, but then there's like all these other questions about the walk and the arms being longer. What do you think about the OG Bigfoot footage?
I don't know. It's too. There's so many newer ones that you can actually look at now as well. That there's one that does kind of remind me of this one, and it's when a Bigfoot was holding a child and somebody saw it.
Weird. That's scary. I don't have that one. That's scary, man.
I'll see if I can find that one for you.
So weird. I saw a winged humanoid. That's crazy.
You saw a winged humanoid? Crazy.
That's wild. There's like, you can do a whole episode on that shit. Bigfoot discussed. Yeah, where's the Philip sightings? Philip the goat. There's did you seen The Witch? Did I tell you that last time? There's a movie called The Witch. If you want to watch a creepy witch movie based in the 1600s, great film. And there's the goat. His name is Philip in the movie, and it's a demonic goat creature,
Oh,
and
really?
it turns into a devil like in the movie and stuff. It's wild. Great movie. Like if you want to watch a movie alone at night by the fireplace sometime, look up The Witch from 2016. It is creepy. I watched it on mushrooms
Oh,
outside. On my
nice.
projector.
I-
And then afterwards, I'm like, why did I use the Ouija board? How deep does this occult magic go? It's like tripping out of my head.
I'm done with mushrooms for a while. I've had 2 not so good experiences in a row.
But you think it's trying to show you something? Because that's what people claim. That's just it's trying to weed out some things in your head that maybe you
Yeah,
haven't dealt.
I don't know. The past 2 times I done it was just not good. Like I went it was like I was stuck inside my own head for 8 hours, and then I woke up in the morning. I was up all night, and
Yeah.
in the morning I felt great though, but
Yeah,
it was just a bad trip.
Yeah, but there's a lot of theory that go to the bad trips. It's supposed to like it's trying to show you something. Because I've had bad trips too, but it's always because I've like not let go and allowed it to show me what it needs to. I had the one dude on from Forbidden Knowledge News, and he's done like crazy mushroom experiences where his girlfriend turned into a reptilian, and he was like, and then he started puking up black shit in the shower, like a crazy experience. And
Ooh.
yeah, so he's like, you have to like kind of let go, and he thought like craziest trip, thought he was dying and all this stuff. So
That
who
doesn't sound
knows?
good
So
at all.
no,
I
let's
had
go
a
with this.
little mushroom bar that somebody had give me while we were on tour,
Yeah,
and it was called an Allah Akbar.
that's hilarious.
And I just took a piece of it, and no, my stomach did not agree with it, and like I felt like crap the whole time. It was just what a waste.
There's a lot of prep that you need too, because I've there was one time I did mushrooms, bad choice. I very rarely eat out, but I ate at Burger King that day. Such a stupid idea. That shit alone will fuck you up. And then so I ate mushrooms, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not that high or whatever. And you never tempt the mushroom gods, right? So I grabbed a handful of microdose pills and just fucking popped them. And then I'm like sitting in the washroom shitting, just fucking hallucinating like crazy. I'm thinking for some reason my wife can hear me. I'm gonna open the door covered in sweat, and she's gonna be like, what is going on? She didn't even hear me, nothing happened. But I'm like just like hallucinating, having the worst like toilet time ever. And like it's crazy. And then I'm like listening to music, and I think it's too loud, so I put it in my headphones on the PlayStation remote, and then I'm just like in my head. I've had crazy experiences, man. Like, and it's always been something good, but it can show you darkness in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's up, Tom? Tom McClue's in the chat. Okay,
What's up,
so
Tom?
let's get another one in here. There's one really goofy one. It's this one. I'll play that one last. That's a guy in a costume. There's no way.
Yeah, there's another one that was seen. It looks exactly like that thing, and it was seen at a crime scene. It was caught on motion cameras.
That's
Yeah.
fucking scary, man. What the fuck? That's so
Yeah.
weird. Like, so strange. Yeah, there's this one is just for fun.
Bum, 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 bum.
That's definitely a guy.
Amazing.
It's so funny.
Have you ever looked at Todd Standing's stuff?
No, I'd be interested though.
Everybody keeps calling him a known fraud and stuff like that, but he did have these. I don't know. He had a video of one going up the side of the mountain. And I was like, "Fuck that! That looked pretty real." And then he had other ones of close-ups on their faces and stuff.
Oh yeah, we're gonna play one which is pretty wild. But like, it's like that. You remember that one guy that supposedly saw a giant on top of a mountain and then he went missing? It's like such a weird story.
That was a TikTok story, wasn't it?
Yeah. The guy was like filming out there, saw something weird, and then he disappeared. I'm like, who knows? But like, I think weird things happen, and there is mass disappearances. of people, like families that just straight up disappear. It's happened numerous times. Where'd you get that clip of my ex-girlfriend? I thought CIA study mushrooms as a serum. Oh, I know. I talked about that with Jeremy. I told him that that Terrence, we were talking about Terrence McKenna, and I was like, I heard they work for the CIA, and he's like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. There's theories that he was part of MK Ultra, and it's like, who knows, right? And it's always who knows.
Yeah.
This one is compelling. I gotta say, if this is a mask, it's crazy.
If it was all that I got, it would have never been proven as Bigfoot. Here's one of the photographs. This looks like an artist's drawing, but it's not. It's actually a photograph. I just had to crank up the contrast and brightness and saturation so you could have a good look and see his eyes and his nose and his fur.
Not wild?
That's Todd Standing.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a few pictures like that and one of going up the mountain. But apparently he's a known con man.
Yeah, it's disappointing. And it is crazy. It does what are those things in Star Wars, the small little creatures that like try to molest Princess Leia? What are they called? Not the
Ewoks?
Ewoks, yeah. It looks like that.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
If it was all that I got, it would have never been proven as Bigfoot. Here's one of the photographs. This looks like an artist's drawing, but it's not. It's actually a photograph. I just had to crank up the...
If that's a mask, that's a pretty good mask. Like, you'd have to spend money. Like,
yeah, no, he did good. But there's another one, another picture that he has. You could put it, probably Google Todd Standing Bigfoot pictures and then probably go to images. You'll see them. Another one has a completely bald face, but it's a black face. And it had like black eyes. Yeah.
Say Todd Standing?
Yeah. But you know who I would have believed would have been Survivor Man. I don't know if you ever used to watch his shows.
Yeah.
Okay, he actually did an episode where he went looking for Bigfoot, but he went with Todd Standing, so that's why people didn't believe him.
Oh, weird. Yeah. It's so weird. These things are creepy. Either way, he put time and effort into making.
Right? Yeah, there's another, not that one, but there's another picture.
So
there, that one.
Weird. Yeah. That's it's creepy looking. It looks like something from indigenous folklore.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you made a mask of that, it would take you your sweet time. Yeah.
Right. And they're one-off pictures. Like you don't see that mask being used anywhere. I don't know. I have to go find them myself.
I know. Took some mushrooms called Teacher once, was insane. Golden Teacher is actually my least favorite strain. Yeah, Ewoks. Looks like a diverse Ewok. Simple question. Would Bigfoot be the same as Sasquatch or Yeti? So supposedly it's like the same kind of thing, but they have like cousins. They're part of the same family. I wonder if they're like, if one causes more problems than the other, you know. Like Yeti tries to build a community, and then there's one in Canada called Yellow Top. The weirdest thing, it looks like Bigfoot, but he's got like a Garth from Wayne's World hairdo.
That's funny.
Old Yellow Top, they call him. It's so
old
weird.
Yellow Top.
Yeah, it's fun. But and then you got the Bigfoots come in and try to fuck with Yeti's stuff, and then he's got to kick him out and mass deport. Oh. So I got two more. These ones are a little more compelling and weird. So check this one out.
Family up for a drive in Craven, Saskatchewan were shocked to see a hair-covered bipedal creature walking on a hill beside the road. They quickly took out their camera and filmed the creature as it walked into the bushes. This is their footage. It is clear, showing a biped brown all over with a conical head and long arms. Could this be a real Sasquatch?
I don't know. And that was in Saskatchewan.
Remember that one. I remember
There's
that
a
one.
lot that are in Canada too.
That was a native family that got that one, I think.
So weird. Hello, that's crazy. I might have been born in a city mentioning it last second. Broken. I don't know where the hell that's. Sasquatch are indigenous folklore. There's a lot of weird stuff. Yeah, that's an Indian. So it's like, so we got two more. This one's in Russia. This is why it's weird. It looks fake, but who goddamn knows anymore.
Of a Russian news story covers the alleged capture of a Bigfoot. There is the poor creature pacing around in a large cage behind the guy who claimed to have captured the beast. According to a translation of a Russian article on December 28th, the Military Border Control Federal Security Service of Ingushetia in the forest district of Ingushetia, Zhirotsk, caught a strange 2-meter-tall creature like Bigfoot, said the agency Interfax.
A baby Sasquatch? That's some Russian.
Was that supposed to be the one behind him too? Like,
yeah, he's like, I caught this thing. Check it out. It's not my cousin Bob. It's like, what
yeah,
the
he
fuck?
just fucking glued hair to his fucking stepbrother or something.
It's Putin. It's so Littlefoot. Yeah, instead of Bigfoot, it's Littlefoot. Is that weird? Like, and that was on a Russian like news channel and shit too.
It's from Chernobyl.
Yeah, yeah. All the radiation and stuff. So this one is wild. This is the last one I have. It's from Ontario. And this guy's like supposedly obsessed with Bigfoot. And he catches them, or it got close enough, they got comfortable with them. He got recordings of sounds. It's about 2 minutes. This one is pretty wild.
This audio recording was reportedly made by a Sasquatch in Ontario, Canada on May 3rd, 2013, according to the YouTube description. Audio of this caliber is extremely difficult to obtain. They say it took 7 months of persistence and a non-invasive approach to build up trust to a level that this family of Sasquatch feels is comfortable enough to let us hear their voices on the recording. You'll hear several different types of vocalizations. One is clearly a deep belch, as well as some trademark tree knocking.
I'm in my tent. That is a Sasquatch.
What do you think?
I don't know. It's always presented in a way like it's TV. You know what I mean? That's why I have to see it myself. My goal is to fucking find Sasquatch myself.
Sounds like Cookie. It does sound like Cookie Monster. Someone does talk about this thing that it burps. It like does a big belch. I can't. This is retarded. It sounds like it's like cookies, and it's like it just has that weird voice to it. It is weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just burp. It's so funny. Sounds like me after a spicy burrito night. Oscar the Grouch. And like this guy's convinced, obviously, though.
That could be anybody just fucking around.
100%. 100%. One last thing, how would you catch it if you had like a foolproof plan? At least like a basic plan.
I don't think I could catch it. I'm gonna communicate with it telepathically.
Are you gonna smack the wood against the trees? Because that's supposed to how they communicate.
I haven't really worked out this plan yet, to be honest with you.
Because they supposed to be they'll you can hit something against a tree and go like dun dun dun, and if you hear on the winds go dun dun dun, it's like trying to communicate with you. It also does like a whooping sound like a juggalo, so that's scary enough.
Well, you got to be I don't want to be yelling out a mating call by any means to get raped by Sasquatch out in the woods.
There's a dude. I have so many episodes written out for the show. It's way too long to get into, but there is a dude. His name is Albert Osterman. He claimed he was kidnapped by Bigfoot. He was a Canadian prospector who was reportedly that he was abducted by Sasquatch, held captive for 6 days. He stated the event took place near Toba Inlet, British Columbia in 1924. And there's people that claim they got like I think the guy I think he said he got raped by Bigfoot.
I bet, guarantee. Do you think Sasquatch is going to have you over for 6 days and let you go without getting some of that ass? He was putting that Sascock in him.
It was Sascock. Derek's next Bigotfoot. That's actually
Bigotfoot. Nice.
Raped by Bigfoot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did get raped. So this was fun. I wanted to have you on again, just kind of shoot the shit and
yeah, man.
Talk shit. For everybody watching, obviously you can find all my stuff at Strange Brew Podcast. We're all over. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. We'd appreciate it greatly. We're reaching more and more people all the time. Tell everybody on my end where to find you.
You can go to my YouTube channel, Plaid Army, or you can follow me on Twitter. It's Derek Rants, DerekRants on Twitter. Surprised I actually got that name. Or you could go to my book website, memeconf.ca.
I just want to get that book to have in my collection because I have so many books. I think it would just be fun to have.
Yeah, man. It's a collector's item.
100%. There's a lot of people that got signed at the tour and stuff, and I'm glad that it went well for you guys. You guys had a lot of fun. It's too bad because I really wanted to, because I have a decent camera. I really wanted to come helping film in Hamilton and stuff like that. But hopefully there's a next time, and maybe it won't be as like tenuous of going around and like that's a long time to like be driving around from place to place.
Yeah,
back and forth.
Yeah, man, it was grueling fun. Like it was awesome. Like I wish we had more time to stop and like my Sasquatch. That's right. I'm trying to get abducted by a female Sasquatch.
Yeah, there's some thick ones out there, they say. So I posted this meme the one time, and it was like this Sasquatch dragging this guy, and she was voluptuous. And my buddy's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like,
oh man, yeah. Find a Sasquatch with some hips.
Yeah. Damn squanches. Yeah, it's so true. Everybody that's watching and stuff like that. Yeah, help Strange Brew Podcast. We're Canadian based. And then I got a co-host in Ireland. We actually do a show called Class Horrorcast. Hence why I have all my horror shit. I do like horror movies. Always have. It's going on his show is a little more fun because it's not as real, right? We're we talk about things that are weird and strange, but definitely some conspiracies are talking about adrenochrome and abducting children and what they do to kids is pretty dark and disturbing. So going and talking about some fake shit. We just did a deep dive into Friday the 13th for the summer, and that was a load of fun. What a bunch of goofy fun movies, but hey, it's
so fun. I grew up with those movies and they were scary as shit when I was
at the time.
Back and look at them, you're like, what the fuck? I'm embarrassed to be scared by it. Like
so we used to love the covers, man. Back in the day, Blockbuster, it was just cool. You just out, man. I want to watch this.
Yeah, so I remember that fucking era in time to go to get a different horror movie at Blockbuster.
I miss that stuff, right? We talk about that all the time on his show because it's so different than what it is now, man. It's like the world's gone to shit.
Well, that actually forced you to get out of your house too.
Yeah.
Like now you just order everything at home. Like I can just do everything. I can have a minority bring me food anytime I want.
I know. So
me, not so much where I live now. Like it's a bit too far away, but that's what all my friends are doing.
Riding his bicycle from fucking Toronto. It's like, I gotta get that.
No, now they drive 18-wheelers and they kill people at the side of the road.
I know. I've seen some of the footage coming out, man. It's pretty disturbing of them not being able to drive, hurting people.
It is bad. We are just, we are going to see another accident like Humboldt.
Yeah, I'm sure we will, and they're not going to do anything about it. Same way, what the 4th or 5th leading cause of death in Canada is essentially euthanasia. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. They're drowned to death. I've heard it's horrible. I appreciate everybody that watched and listens, and I appreciate anyone that supports Stranger Podcast. Like I do really appreciate it. And like I Diagolon was something that just happened, kind of thing of getting you guys on the show. It was weird because I had Jeremy on the show, and then when I got invited to do the LISAC fundraiser, I wasn't really aware of what all you guys were doing and stuff like that, because I had a big account that was taken down from Instagram of me speaking out and trying to like kind of wake people up and to get them to see through all the bullshit, and especially preach about that both sides are the same. Doesn't matter. You can't vote your way out of this shit. And then it's just interesting. I opened the door to you guys. Like I would love to have Alex on at some point, especially both of you guys, and kind of just get into like just a fun talk, like just have a little fun with it. Show some clips, just do something enjoyable for people to watch and think about things that are going on. You know?
Yeah, well, we talked about it before. You can come join us on a Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. Next couple of weeks are a little busy, but I'm sad I didn't join you guys on Sunday. But I'll let you know when, and we'll get that in the works. Essentially, the next 2 weeks I'm busy, and then my buddies try to get me on. There's a show that they keep trying to get me on called Schizo News, where they bring up like weirdest news articles and make fun of it. And it's like every Saturday night at like 10:30. And I'm like, I'm with the wife then, I gotta like try to enjoy my time with her and stuff. And it's just like, you guys are going so late. They're going like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, so that's a whole night planned out, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I appreciate you coming on. For everybody watching, you can support the show anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We're on Rumble, YouTube. And then I'm going to play the Diagolon Forever song. You can find out my music on all music platforms. I'm reaching more and more people all the time with my music, and I just decided to put it on. We appreciate everybody that joined. Good evening, Dags. So, everyone have a good night. And you can peace out. I'm going to play the song and the stream will end.
Sounds good.
All right, man. I'll talk to you next time, dude. We'll get you on again.
Thanks for having me.
See you, dude.
You gaslight all you want. I will just laugh in your face as I destroy you. I wasn't even trying. We weren't even trying, guys.
Now all together, Diagolon forever. Black flags with the white stripe through the center. We will never back down, no, never. We are stronger than ever. Now all together, Diagolon forever. Black flags with the white stripe through the center. We will never back down, no, never. We are stronger than ever. Diagolon forever. Oh, you're afraid of a meme? Using tax dollars to chase around a goat figurine? If you listen closely, you can hear the screams of the politicians as their system is blown to smithereens. You wanna put people in prison for being mean? The blood of tyrants is used to replenish the tree of liberty. Enough silence. Jeremy is using his speech to lead the infantry. The government is a parasitic leech that feeds on your fragility, but freedom isn't free. You bitches like living on your knees, playing the victim instead of embracing your masculinity. As you're gaslit to be afraid of hate and bigotry, the enemy must die. Our money and time is sucked dry. You will never get it back. Philip the goat sniffing coke, kicking ass. Now all together, Diagolon forever. Black flags with the white stripe through the center. We will never back down, no, never. We are stronger than ever. Now all together, Diagolon forever. Black flags with the white stripe through the center. We will never back down, no, never. We are stronger than ever. Diagolon forever. Let the hate flow through you. The most banned man on YouTube, the raging dissident, the hateful militant was placed in imprisonment, even though he's innocent. Stay strong and vigilant as you take on the system with belligerence. Rage cast, hate gate, pay back against the state. Break glass, ate steak, face facts, date straight. Lay back, create hate, die fast while you wait for maid. We will see you last when the lions take back their caves. You're a slave to the government and we've had enough of it. Diagolon ain't nothing to fuck with. Every politician is corrupted. Fuck the 338, they can suck dick. Mass immigration is destructive. They have to go back. Here comes the Plaid Army to invoke the Emergency Act. Now all together, Diagolon forever. Black flags with the white stripe through the center. We will never back down, no, never. We are stronger than ever. Now all together, Diagolon forever. Black flags with the white stripe through the center. We will never back down, no, never. We are stronger than ever.